Hello everyone and welcome to Enchanted Rose Costumes. This year marks the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth, and so I've decided I want to do a couple Regency projects to commemorate that. Well, the project that we are starting with today is actually one that I have been planning to make for about 6 years, and that is this 1815 Regency Pelisse. I actually came across this pelisse on an auction site, and since I will not be able to afford the original, I need to make a reproduction for myself. The National Gallery in Victoria is the one that now owns this piece, so when I found the high-resolution photos on their website, I was thrilled. I'm very excited to get started now that I can actually see the design of the Soutache. So first I started off, I bought a very large amount of Soutache. Did I overbuy? Possibly, but I wanted to make sure it was all the same dye lot. I just bought a ton of it so I didn't have to worry about it potentially not being the same color. As for the fabric, I was at Fabricland a couple years ago and they had a huge winter sale on their wool coating, and I found this beautiful purple. It's actually not a pure wool, it's a polyester wool, but it is, I think, 70% wool, and then the rest is polyester and rayon. I definitely overbought on this. I think I have about 9 meters of this fabric, but it is perfect for this, and if I have extra, then maybe I can make something for my kids as well. Now, if you have not watched my videos before, you may not know that I like to add fun lining to my projects, and this one is going to be no different. The lining I have picked for this project is this cheetah print. Now you may be thinking, cheetah print and the Regency, that is not going to work. But you would actually be surprised that there is a history of cheetah print, and it goes back even further than the Regency. During the 18th century, there was an animal print fad. There's actually fashion plates of men, women, portraits, and they're all wearing different forms of animal print. And cheetah print was a very popular one. So you can actually find fabrics that are velvet, satin, silk, different types of weaves, different types of block printing, and they have cheetah print on it. So I think having a silly, fun cheetah print for my lining is going to be quite fun, and I'm very excited for that. The pattern I'm planning on using for this project is the Red Snail 0319. I really like black snail patterns. They come in a really wide variety of sizes. This is not sponsored, I just really like their patterns. So time-wise, I am hoping that I can get this done by the end of January. I don't know how realistic this is because there is a lot of hand sewing. I'm going to be hand sewing on all the Soutache, and I don't know how long that is going to take me. It is the beginning of January. I have a month, hopefully, to get this done, but we will see. I might end up making this a 2-parter video, depending on how much I can get done in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Fingers crossed. So that is enough blathering on. Let's get to sewing. Alright, first fitting. I put the sleeve half on because I just wanted to see how the shoulders would fit. First thing I can tell is this needs to come in a little bit more. I've got a mirror right here, so that's why I'm not fully looking at the camera. Undersleeve fits. It looks pretty good. I know the Regency styles come off the shoulders a little bit, but I feel like this is a little bit too far. For range of motion, it definitely cuts into my forward range of motion. I might just experiment with cutting that a little bit in, but otherwise, fit is not bad. Okay, I'm going to try bring the sleeve up a little bit and see how that looks. The sleeve is still definitely a little bit low on my shoulder. Range of motion feels good. I have to see with the other sleeve on though. Also, I do believe it is time for bed because I just realized I put the sleeve in the wrong armhole. So I'm going to stop fitting for tonight, and I will be back tomorrow with a fresh brain. I put this sleeve in first just to see if I like the shape of, I think it's called a Mancheron. I'll get the spelling of it here. So this one, the shape is not quite right and it doesn't exactly match the design inspiration. So I made it a bit smaller, and then this one was too tight. So still not quite right. Go back to the drawing board on these and try and find the in-between spot. Sleeve length. You've got the Regency sleeve length all the way to the knuckles, which is an odd feeling, but it's nice actually, because winters are cold and having it all the way to the knuckles, you can like tuck your fingers in, I'm thinking is gonna kind of be nice. Plus, when I bend my arms, being a tall person, it goes to my wrist. It doesn't go to my forearms, so that's always nice. I drew on my design for the sleeve for the Soutache, which I think that was really good. I made it a bit too far to the inside of the sleeve, so when I do it on the real one, it's going to be a bit more to the outside, so I'm just going to have to rotate that a little bit. Overall, I like the Soutache design. I think it's going to be really cute. Anyways, let's get back to work. I am going to try and trace the feather design onto the bodice. And we've got a little visitor with us. So I'm going to try and get this done while she is happy. So let's get to it. So, easy part is done. I transferred it over. I'm fairly happy with the placement. I might change the bottom one just a little bit, and I might move the top one up just a little bit. But overall, I think it's looking very good. And I'm going to transfer this over to paper and then copy it from there. And I think I'm ready to start cutting out the fabric. Please forgive the state of my workroom. So, because this is such a long project, I also have to go vertical. I don't know if I like this or not. It's going to be shorter. It's not hemmed, obviously. But here it is. I'm going to go check in the long mirror, see if I like this, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, so here is the deal. It is a little bit too cylindrical for my taste. Also, looking at the original, it feels like the circumference of the hem is a little bit wider than this one. Now, I'm not faulting the pattern. I'm just not putting it together how the instructions tell you to, because mine is different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take in the fabric a little bit at the waist first, because it is quite loose there, but I'm going to add more to the hem circumference, just because I noticed the side seam is being pulled to the back because I'm not exactly following their pattern, and theirs is gathered and I'm pleating mine to match the original. So we'll see how this goes. I think I'm also going to add more fabric to the back panel. I'm not exactly sure. I'm really just playing around with this at this point. Another thing is I was looking through the Patterns of Fashion 1 book, and the 1818 Pelisse has a pleat at the side, and so I think I might add that to mine just because I have a lot of hip. I need more room in the hip, but I don't need as much in the waist. So by adding the pleat there, it'll give me a little more room around the hips. It's not going to be a lot. It's not going to be too noticeable, hopefully, but I think that should work. So that is kind of my thrown together plan. So let's continue on. I am just feeling really stuck on this project right now. I am trying to draw out the trim. It is a repeat, so looking at the original, there is a repeat of 4 sections. Now I'm assuming that who this was originally created for is not as tall as I am. I am 6 feet tall, and so I'm trying to replicate the scale, and I think it's just throwing me off because when I look at the scale or the trim compared to the original and look at it compared to mine, it's really big and I don't like it. So I'm just trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. I've been working on this mock-up for a lot longer than I wanted to. I think I'm almost at 2 weeks at working on this now because I'm trying to figure out the trim. And so I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the sleeves, do the soutache work on that because I already know what this is going to look like. And if I can just do something instead of not working on anything, I think I will feel a bit more productive because I really think I just need to get some soutache work done. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sleeves, transfer over the pattern onto the sleeves, and then just come back to this. I have my design. I have traced it out onto tissue paper, and now I'm going to transfer this design on to these sleeves. This is the wrong side, and actually I'm just going to put an X on the wrong side so I don't get them mixed up because that would be really unfortunate. To make sure I've got it lined up correctly. Where's the snip? There's the snip. My battery totally died there, so I don't actually know how much of the pinning process you saw, but this is what it looks like now, and I've started pinning the velvet strip to my pattern. So for the velvet strip, all it is just a plain piece of velvet ribbon, and then for around the curve, I have actually done a running stitch around the curve, and then when I attach it, I'm going to do the outside first just to secure it in place and then stitch the inside to make sure everything is laying nicely. So this is going to be quite a process, but I am looking forward to seeing this done. I know you can attach the soutache by machine, but because you can't see this with the lighting. Because the design is very intricate, I think I'm going to do this by hand. Now this means I'm going to have at least a couple nights on the couch with some hand sewing, so this means hopefully I can catch up on my movies. That's that. So let's start stitching. It has been around 6.5 hours of sewing, and I've completed sleeve number 1. I've pinned it together in the back just to make sure everything lines up, and it does. It's looking so good, and I cannot wait to see this finished. So next up is the task of removing the tissue paper, which I have slowly been doing. Definitely is a little bit of a task. I'm going to need to get some tweezers. Now it is time to start on sleeve number 2. They're done! Oh my goodness. Okay, the sleeves are finally done, and I am very happy at that. I think this took me about 12.5 hours to hand stitch, but they're done. I will say, the saying sisters, not twins, is relevant, but I think in the case of these sleeves, it's more like third cousins once removed. they definitely do not match perfectly, but now I just need to remove the backing from this, and then we are good to start on the next part of this project. So let's get to it. Next, I have to cut out the little bits that go over top of the arm. Looking at this pelisse in the Patterns of Fashion 1, it looks as though theirs are cut on a diagonal, or the bias. So I am going to just try cutting this on the diagonal to see if that will change how the fabric lies. I have enough fabric that I can cut extras of these if it doesn't work out. So I'm just going to experiment a little bit. It looks as though the front runs along the straight of grain and the back goes along the weft. This one was a little smaller, so I'm going to cut seam allowance on top of this, and hopefully this pattern turns out. Just going to grab some little magnets, because that way I don't have to guess on my seam allowance. So we are going to end the video here with just the sleeves being done, but I am very happy with how the sleeves have come out so far. When we pick up next time, we will be putting the coat together, which I think is what a lot more people are interested in. I hope you enjoyed this mock-up video and beginning of the Soutache. The Soutache is a lot more work, but at the same time a lot simpler than I thought it was. It's essentially just a running back stitch through the entire thing. It's very secure, and I love how it looks. And the little Soutache along the Mancheron is very simple. I think it took me about an hour and a half to complete each side. So that's good. I'm happy with it, and I'm very happy with the progress I have made. Now you might notice I am feeling a little bit more springy. Spring is starting to appear in the north, which I'm so excited for. It hasn't been an insane winter, but it's still been a long winter. So yeah, we are definitely getting into longer days, which is very exciting, but I do want to get this project done before the snow leaves. But theoretically, we could still have snow until May, so I'm not promising when the next video will come out, but I'm hoping to get it done sooner versus later because I have a lot of plans for this year, and finishing up this coat is one of them. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you are going to be making anything Jane Austen or Regency related this year. And I hope you guys come back for part 2. I'll see you next time. Bye! Yeah, it's coming along nicely. I love it. I'm feeling cute in my like milkmaid Regency style hair, you know? Alright, have to go edit this.